Welcome back. All right, news of the day video for all you fine people on the internet for your Wednesday. It is November the 5th. We'll go ahead. We'll start at the top of the board. That is normally how these things work. Jordan Binnington. He is set to tie Mike Liut in terms of goaltenders who played the most games for the St. Louis Blues. He would do that tonight with his 347th appearance in net. The funny thing is, for a team that's been around as long as St. Louis, I'm surprised it's not more games. It's like when Mike Liut was their leader in wins. I was surprised there wasn't a goaltender who had more wins. But for St. Louis, Binnington's been their starter now for over half a decade, so he'll be the all-time leader in games played as well as wins. He did pass Mike Liut for that record a while back. And it is impressive considering Binnington was kind of a late bloomer. Not much thought about him until he came up that year and they won the Stanley Cup. Prior to that season, Binnington was just sort of a number 3 goaltender. There wasn't necessarily anything seen as overly special in his game. Makes you wonder how many other goaltenders currently toiling in the AHL might be capable of something similar. But yeah, good on Binnington for reaching that mark with St. Louis. So the reason I'm wearing Penguins, a lot of injury news with the Penguins that's come out. Some guys who are already out, and we have some idea of a timeline with them. Tristan Jarry dealing with a lower body injury. That's going to hurt. Jarry's been off to a very good start to the season. He's going to be out a minimum of 3 weeks. I do see the word minimum, and I think, okay, so it might be maybe 4 weeks, but it'll be a minimum of 3. But we'll see how long Jarry's out for and how that affects the goaltending that they've been getting. It does mean Shilovs is going to play more. Shilovs absolutely has the potential to be able to get through that, so we'll see how everything goes there. Brazo, dealing with that upper body injury. He's out a minimum of 4 weeks, so that's going to be a month for Brazo. He, of course, off to a great start with the team, and it's an absolute shame that this has happened for him, so hopefully he's able to come back and pick up where he left off when he returns. Noel Acciari, dealing with an upper body injury as well. He's out a minimum of 3 weeks. So those are 3 injuries for for Pittsburgh. Already did St. Louis. Stick with the team, Shannon. But yeah, Jarry out, minimum of 3 weeks. That's a huge blow to them in that's one of their 2 goaltenders. It's been a 1A, 1B situation there. Brazo's been playing a very prominent role for them, and Acciari, of course, a bottom 6 player. Rasmus Sandin is set to return tonight for Washington. That's in the game against the St. Louis Blues. Sandin, a good blue liner. I think he's played well for the Washington Capitals in his time there. So we'll see how things go for Sandin this evening. The Vancouver Canucks, good news for the Canucks as well, as Garland is good to return tonight against Chicago. Connor Garland, one of their more consistent offensively minded players. Vitaly Kravtsov did clear waivers, so his contract will be terminated. Reportedly, he has a 3-year deal in the KHL, which will take him back there. It just didn't work for Kravtsov. Clearly wasn't going to, and so it makes total sense that he'd want to go home and that the Canucks would do what they could to facilitate that taking place. So Kravtsov's contract is off the books for the Vancouver Canucks, and it adds another forward that Abbotsford doesn't have, but Abbotsford's short on a lot of players right now between guys being up with the Vancouver Canucks and guys who left from last season's Calder Cup winner. Ryan Strome is at morning skate today for the Anaheim Ducks, so he's getting closer to a return. And he's traveling with the team on their upcoming 2-game road trip. So for Anaheim, getting Strome back would be, I think, a pretty big deal considering they're already one of the better teams in the West. And, I mean, adding a little bit more depth in Ryan Strome can't hurt. So Pat Verbeek's got a team right now that's in pretty good shape in Anaheim. This is one of those interesting things. We talked about it before the season started. You just never know when it's going to click. And with Anaheim, it looks like it's really clicked. And it's kind of fun to watch. So we'll see if it keeps going. And if you had told me back in 2016 that I'd be, enthusiastic about the Anaheim Ducks winning games, I would ask when I fell down and hit my head. The PWHL, both Vancouver and Seattle are going to have press conferences tomorrow where they will unveil their logos and their names. I have not purchased jerseys for Vancouver and Seattle at this point because I know they're just going to be placeholders. Like I've got the Montreal one from year 1 in PWHL. I don't know when I'm going to wear that again. It's just the placeholder that has Montreal across it. I do like the colors that Vancouver and Seattle picked. It'll be interesting to see what the logo and what the style is going to be. We'll find out the names of the teams tomorrow and the logos, And, of course, the PWHL gets things started in a couple of weeks' time. Darren Drager is reporting that the Winnipeg Jets are closing in on an extension with Adam Lowry. Lowry, of course, coming back from injury and a big part of the identity of the Winnipeg Jets. He's been there for a very long time. He's a hard worker. I think that hard work, that intensity, kind of a working man vibe that he has there, that is a big part of Winnipeg's identity. And so it makes total sense that the team and the player would want to keep that relationship going. It will be interesting to see what the cap hit looks like for that too. How much is Lowry worth? As a good two-way forward that's not necessarily elite offensively, be interesting to see what the cap hit looks like. Rod Brindamore says he hopes that Keandre Miller is good to go tomorrow against the Minnesota Wild. We know that he's close. Miller's missed a few games now for Carolina after a strong start with Carolina as well. So if they can get Miller back in there, Carolina, of course, dealing with the injury bug on their blue line often. I believe 3 of the top 4 were out in recent games. So, yeah, Carolina would be glad to have Miller back. I will agree with Brindamore on that one. So the storyline around Nazem Kadri, I think, is about to take a turn because that's what the rumors have been the whole way through. The Calgary Flames wanted to have him play his 1,000th game, have a ceremony for that 1,000th game, and that's where the trade market would then open up, where they might look at moving the player. Nazem Kadri is playing his 1,000th game tonight for the Calgary Flames against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Kadri's a very good forward still. I think with the salary cap going in the direction that it is, it makes it easier to trade his contract than it was during the flat cap part of things. And Kadri's had a strong season thus far, so I do understand teams looking at him. And I think we'll see more discussions as soon as tomorrow on where he might go and what that return might look like. Where I'm going to be interested in is Calgary going to look at making a hockey trade where they're going to get a player back and look at, turning around their record, or are they going to sell him off for futures, which would include probably a first-round draft pick, probably a prospect, maybe a roster player, but what might that trade look like for Nazem Kadri? Craig Conroy's had a lot of time to think about this, and obviously the Calgary Flames knew coming into this season the odds of making the playoffs were not phenomenal, so it will be interesting to see how things work out here. Let me know your thoughts, Flames fans. What kind of trade would you like to see get made in the event that Nazem Kadri does get dealt? Would you like to see it be a hockey trade, keeping things together, or are you like, nope, we'll just go ahead and we'll trade off and get futures? And then if Kadri's moved, what does that do with the Rasmus Andersson conversation? We haven't heard much about Rasmus Andersson since the season started, but we know he's a pending unrestricted free agent. And in the event that, with this team's record, and then you're also going to be trading off Kadri, Andersson probably gets traded then as well. I don't think we'll see a mass exodus of all of their veteran players. I don't think it'll be a full teardown, but I do think Kadri and Andersson probably end up going. But let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. It has been a very interesting season thus far. Everybody's playing close games for the most part. I've only had to use the No Mercy Magnet once, and we're 200 games into the NHL season. We've had one No Mercy game. It was close last night between Anaheim and Florida, but it did not get there. And the reality is that those games that are lopsided are getting more and more attention because they're getting more and more rare. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.